From prince to enlightened teacher, Buddha's true story. Learn English with real stories. Stop what you're doing for a moment. Look around you right now. Are you truly living or just surviving another day? Let me ask you something deeper. You know that feeling when you have everything you thought you wanted, but you still feel empty inside? When success feels hollow? When you're surrounded by people but feel completely alone? Maybe you're watching this right now, and deep inside, you're struggling. Maybe you're tired of feeling stuck. Maybe you're searching for something real in a world that feels fake. 2,500 years ago, there was a prince of absolute privilege, royal palace, unlimited wealth, perfect family, total security. But he felt exactly what you might be feeling right now. And what he discovered changed not just his life, but millions of lives across history. This is not just a story. It's a roadmap for anyone who's ever felt trapped by their own mind. This story will wake you up. This story will teach you new English words. And this story will show you that your pain might actually be pointing you toward your purpose. His name was Siddhartha Gautama. Siddhartha means one who achieves his goals. He was born in Lumbini, in what is now Nepal, around 563 BCE. He grew up surrounded by luxury and protection. He became a questioning prince, then a wandering seeker, later an enlightened teacher, and finally the Buddha, the awakened one. Chapter 1. Origins. The year was 563 BCE. In the kingdom of Kapilavastu, nestled between green hills and flowing rivers, a child was born who would change the world. The air smelled of jasmine flowers. Birds sang in ancient trees. Palace walls gleamed white in the morning sun. Queen Maya gave birth to Prince Siddhartha under a sala tree. The baby's skin was soft as silk. His eyes held unusual depth. A wise sage predicted two paths for this child. He will become either a great king or a great spiritual teacher. King Suddhodana loved his son deeply, but the prediction worried him. He wanted Siddhartha to rule, not to seek spiritual truth. So he built walls, high walls around the palace. Beautiful walls filled with music, art, and joy. Siddhartha grew up in paradise. Servants attended his every need. Musicians played sweet melodies. Dancers moved like flowing water. The prince learned archery, sword fighting, and riding. He excelled at everything. But questions lived in his young mind. "Father, what lies beyond these walls?" he would ask. "Why do the servants sometimes look sad?" His father always changed the subject. At 16, Siddhartha married his beautiful cousin, Yasodhara. Their love was pure and deep. Palace life continued like a dream. Feasts every night, gardens full of flowers, pools of clear water reflecting the sky. Yet something stirred in Siddhartha's heart, a gentle restlessness, in other words, a soft, quiet feeling that something is missing. Maybe you've felt that too, a hunger for something his luxury could not feed. Late at night, he would stand on the palace balcony and gaze at the stars. What was calling him from beyond those protective walls? And why would this restless feeling change the course of human history? Chapter 2. First struggles. Years passed like golden threads. Siddhartha lived in his beautiful cage. He mastered poetry and philosophy. He became strong and graceful. At 29, Yasodhara gave birth to their son, Rahula. But the prince's questions grew stronger. "I must see the world," he told his father. "I must know how our people truly live." King Suddhodana felt fear grip his heart, but his son was now a man. With heavy reluctance, he agreed. "Very well, but I will prepare the route. You will see only what brings joy." The king ordered his servants to clean every street. He hid all sick people. He moved away anyone old or poor. He wanted Siddhartha to see only youth, health, and happiness. But destiny cannot be stopped. On his first trip outside the palace, Siddhartha saw an old man, bent back, gray hair, wrinkled skin. The prince had never seen aging before. "What happened to him?" he asked his charioteer Channa. "My lord," Channa replied sadly, "this happens to everyone. We all grow old." On his second trip, Siddhartha encountered a sick man. Fever burned his body. Pain twisted his face. "Will this happen to me too?" the prince asked. Channa nodded silently. On his third journey, Siddhartha saw a dead body. Still, cold, final. The prince's world shattered. "Death comes to everyone," Channa whispered. "Even to you, my lord." These sights broke something in Siddhartha's heart, but they also awakened something. On his fourth trip, he saw a wandering monk. The man's face glowed with peace. His eyes held deep calm. "Who is this?" Siddhartha asked. "A seeker," Channa replied. "Someone who has left everything to find truth." That night, Siddhartha could not sleep. He looked at his sleeping wife and baby son. He loved them more than his own life, but questions burned in his mind like fire. "Let me ask you something. Would you sacrifice comfort, love, and family for truth?" The palace felt like a prison now. Siddhartha had seen suffering. He had seen death. He could no longer live in ignorance. Before dawn, he made the hardest decision of his life. He kissed his sleeping family goodbye. He removed his royal clothes and jewels. He cut his long hair with his sword. Then he walked through the palace gates into the unknown world. The prince was dead. The seeker was born. But what happens when your search for truth makes you lose everything? Friends, teachers, even your own body. Would you still keep going? What Siddhartha was about to discover would either destroy him or awaken something that could change millions of lives. Chapter 3. The Turning Point. Siddhartha wandered through forests and villages. He begged for food like a homeless man. His soft hands grew rough. His gentle feet became hard. The former prince now owned nothing but a simple robe. He sought the wisest teachers in India. First, he studied with Alara Kalama, who taught meditation and mental concentration. Siddhartha mastered these techniques quickly, but questions remained. Is this enough? Does this end suffering? Next, he learned from Udaka Ramaputta, who taught even deeper states of meditation. Again, Siddhartha excelled, but his heart said, there must be more. Frustrated with teachers, Siddhartha chose extreme self-discipline. He joined 5 other seekers in the forest. Together, they practiced severe asceticism. They ate almost nothing, 1 grain of rice per day, sometimes only water. Siddhartha's body became a skeleton. His ribs showed through his skin. His eyes sank deep into his skull. His hair fell out. People feared to look at him. For 6 years, he tortured his body. He believed that punishing the flesh would free the spirit. But enlightenment did not come. Instead, weakness nearly killed him. Maybe you've tried everything too. Books, teachers, therapy, diets, relationships, and nothing feels enough. That's where Siddhartha was. Starving. Alone. Forgotten. One day, by a river near Bodh Gaya, Siddhartha collapsed. His strength was gone. His mind was foggy. Death approached like a shadow. A village girl named Sujata saw the dying holy man. Compassion filled her heart. She offered him a bowl of rice pudding. Siddhartha looked at the food. His 5 companions watched in horror. If you eat, they warned, you will lose all your spiritual progress. But wisdom spoke in Siddhartha's heart. How can a starving mind find truth? How can a dying body serve others? He took the bowl. He ate slowly. Strength returned to his limbs. Clarity returned to his mind. His 5 companions left in disgust. They believed he had given up. But Siddhartha had found the middle way, meaning the balanced path between extremes. Not luxury, not suffering. Balance. That evening, he sat under a massive Bodhi tree. Its leaves whispered in the wind. Stars appeared overhead. Siddhartha made a vow. I will not move from this spot until I understand the truth about suffering and its end. What happened that night under the tree would either prove he was just another failed seeker, or reveal the greatest discovery in human history. The night would change everything. Chapter 4: Success and Impact. Under the Bodhi tree, Siddhartha entered the deepest meditation of his life. As night deepened, his mind became still as a mountain lake. Thoughts settled like dust. Awareness expanded like dawn light. Through the night, understanding bloomed in his consciousness. He saw the truth about suffering. It comes from craving and attachment. He understood the path to freedom: right thinking, right action, right meditation. As the morning star appeared, Siddhartha achieved complete enlightenment. In that moment, he became the Buddha, the awakened one. His eyes opened with infinite compassion. His heart filled with boundless love. For 7 weeks, Buddha remained under the tree. He wondered, should I teach this truth? Will people understand? The knowledge felt too deep, too subtle for ordinary minds. But compassion won. Buddha thought of all the suffering beings in the world. He decided to share his discovery. Pause for a moment. If you've ever felt lost, confused, or empty inside, drop a comment below and tell us, what's the biggest struggle you're facing right now? Sometimes sharing your truth is the first step toward your own transformation. The man who had lost everything was about to give the world its greatest gift. He walked to Sarnath, where his 5 former companions lived. When they saw him approach, they planned to ignore him. But something had changed. Light seemed to radiate from Buddha's face. Peace flowed from his presence. Buddha spoke to them about the 4 noble truths. First, life contains suffering. Second, suffering comes from craving, or simply wanting things desperately. Third, suffering can end. Fourth, there is a path to end suffering. He taught them the noble 8-fold path: right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. The 5 ascetics listened with amazement. Buddha's words rang with truth. They became his first disciples. Word spread quickly through India. People came from everywhere to hear Buddha teach: rich and poor, kings and farmers, scholars and children. His message was simple: I teach only suffering and the end of suffering. For 45 years, Buddha traveled across India. He established communities of monks and nuns. He taught in simple language that everyone could understand. He never claimed to be divine. I am awake, he said. You can awaken too. Thousands of people found peace through his teachings. Families reconciled. Enemies became friends. Hearts filled with loving kindness. Buddha's fame reached every corner of India. Kings invited him to their palaces, but he remained humble. He slept on simple mats. He ate 1 meal a day. He owned only his robes and begging bowl. The man who had given up a kingdom had gained something far greater: the power to free minds from suffering. Chapter 5: Conflict and Pain. Even enlightened beings face human challenges. Buddha's family struggled with his choice. When he finally returned to Kapilavastu after years away, mixed emotions filled the reunion. His father wept with joy and sorrow. His wife Yasodhara questioned him, "Why did you leave us?" Buddha's heart ached with compassion. He understood their pain, but also knew his path had been necessary. My awakening serves all beings, he explained gently, including you. Gradually, his family found peace with his choice and joined his spiritual community. But Buddha faced other struggles too: opposition from jealous teachers, betrayal from some disciples, political conflicts affecting his communities, and like everyone else, Buddha aged. His body grew weak, his hair turned gray, but his mind remained crystal clear. At 80, Buddha knew his time was ending. He gathered his disciples for final teachings in Kushinagar. Everything changes, he reminded them. Even this body must die, but the truth I have taught will live forever. Do not follow me, because I am Buddha, he said. Follow the teachings because they work. Be lights unto yourselves. With these words, the Buddha passed away peacefully, but his light continued to shine in the hearts of all who followed his path. Conclusion, legacy, and reflection. Today, over 2,500 years later, Buddha's influence touches every continent. More than 500 million people follow his teachings. Buddhism has spread to Thailand, China, Japan, Tibet, and now the Western world. Interestingly, Buddha and Jesus Christ lived in similar time periods and shared similar messages of compassion, love, and inner transformation. Both taught about overcoming suffering through spiritual awakening. Both emphasized love for all beings. However, while Jesus focused on salvation through divine grace, Buddha taught self-liberation through personal practice. Buddhism evolved into different schools as it spread across the world. The three main branches are fascinating. Theravada Buddhism, meaning Way of the Elders, is the oldest school. Found in Thailand, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Laos, and Cambodia, it focuses on individual enlightenment through personal practice and meditation. Think of it as the original path Buddha taught. Mahayana Buddhism, meaning Great Vehicle, spread to China, Korea, Vietnam, and Japan. But here's what makes it special. Instead of seeking enlightenment just for yourself, you vow to save all beings first. It's like becoming a spiritual lifeguard. You don't leave the pool until everyone is safe. Vajrayana Buddhism, meaning Diamond Vehicle, is often called Tibetan Buddhism. It uses advanced tantric practices, that means secret spiritual techniques, with mantras, mandalas, and direct transmission from master to student. But Buddhism branched even further. Zen Buddhism developed in China and Japan, focusing on zazen meditation, sitting meditation that seeks sudden awakening. There are two main Zen schools, Soto Zen, gradual enlightenment, and Rinzai Zen, sudden enlightenment through koans, that means spiritual riddles. Pure Land Buddhism focuses on faith in Amida Buddha, believing that reciting his name can transport you to the Pure Land, a heavenly realm where enlightenment is easier to achieve. Nichiren Buddhism centers on the Lotus Sutra and the mantra Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Shingon Buddhism uses elaborate rituals, mantras, and mandalas to achieve enlightenment in this lifetime. Each school offers different doors to the same house, Buddha's original teachings about ending suffering and finding inner peace. Meditation, Buddha's core practice, has three main forms: concentration meditation, focusing the mind; mindfulness meditation, observing thoughts; and loving kindness meditation, developing compassion. Each path leads to the same goal, inner peace and wisdom. But here's something fascinating about Buddhist beliefs. Buddha himself, after reaching nirvana, complete enlightenment, transcended the cycle of reincarnation. He no longer needs to be reborn because he escaped samsara, the endless cycle of death and rebirth that governs all beings. However, Buddhist tradition speaks of Maitreya, the future Buddha who will appear when Buddha's teachings are forgotten. Maitreya currently resides in Tushita heaven, waiting for the right time to be born on earth and restore the Dharma, Buddha's teachings. Now, let me ask you something that might blow your mind. If Buddha existed today, would he be happy with our world? Think about it. Buddha taught about the middle way, but we live in extremes. Social media addiction or complete digital detox, workaholism or laziness, overconsumption or extreme minimalism. We've forgotten balance. Buddha warned against craving and attachment, yet our entire economy runs on making people want more. More followers, more likes, more stuff, more status. We've built a civilization based on the very suffering Buddha tried to end. But maybe, just maybe, Buddha would also see hope. Millions practicing meditation worldwide. Mental health awareness growing. People seeking authentic connections. Young people choosing meaning over money. And Buddha would definitely smile seeing how his teachings live on through spiritual leaders like the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama is the spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhism and is considered the manifestation of the Buddha of compassion. This position represents a reincarnation lineage, meaning a spiritual succession through rebirth that has lasted over 600 years. The current Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, is the 14th in this sacred line. When you see the Dalai Lama's gentle smile and hear his message of universal compassion, you're witnessing Buddha's teachings alive in our modern world. The same wisdom that awakened under the Bodhi tree 2,500 years ago continues to guide millions through leaders who embody, in other words, represent in human form, Buddha's core message of love and understanding. Buddha's legacy also lives through remarkable contemporary monks and nuns who've touched millions of lives. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Zen master who passed away in 2022, brought engaged Buddhism, combining meditation with social activism, to the Western world. His books like The Miracle of Mindfulness transformed how people understand peace. Ajahn Chah, the Thai forest master, established over 300 monasteries worldwide, proving that Buddha's simple forest teachings still work in our complex modern world. And inspiring nuns like Pema Chodron, the first American woman fully ordained in the Tibetan tradition, and Jetsunma Tenzin Palmo, who spent 12 years meditating alone in a Himalayan cave, show that Buddha's path is open to everyone. But here's something amazing. Buddha's path isn't just for watching from the outside. Even today, people from all walks of life, former dancers, computer programmers, physicists, even BBC presenters, choose to follow Buddha's footsteps and become monks and nuns. The process begins with deep study of Buddha's teachings, the Four Noble Truths, and the Eightfold Path. Then comes taking refuge, formally becoming a Buddhist. Many practice celibacy and simple living first, testing if the monastic life feels right. If someone feels called to this path, they live temporarily in a monastery as an anagarika, simply a homeless one in training. They shave their heads, wear simple robes, and learn community life. After about a year, they might become a novice, taking the 10 precepts Buddha originally gave. Finally, after 2 more years, they can take full ordination with hundreds of detailed rules Buddha established for monks and nuns. It's a lifelong commitment, especially in the Tibetan tradition. These modern followers live exactly as Buddha did, owning almost nothing, eating simple food, meditating daily, and dedicating their lives to helping others find inner peace. Think about that for a moment. In our age of social media fame and material obsession, thousands of brilliant people are still choosing Buddha's ancient path of simplicity and service. Former CEOs becoming forest monks, university professors becoming nuns, artists trading galleries for meditation halls. What do they see that our consumer culture misses? Perhaps Buddha would smile seeing how his 2,500-year-old wisdom about mindfulness is now used in hospitals, schools, and therapy sessions. How his teachings about compassion are helping people heal from trauma and division. Modern science confirms Buddha's insights in the most beautiful ways. In a hospital in Boston, a child therapist teaches anxious kids how to breathe mindfully, using Buddha's 2,500-year-old method. In Silicon Valley, stressed executives learn meditation to find clarity. In schools across America, teachers use Buddhist mindfulness to help traumatized children find peace. Neuroscientists study meditation's effects on the brain. Psychologists use mindfulness therapy for depression and anxiety. Doctors prescribe Buddhist practices worldwide. But Buddha's influence reaches even deeper into our culture. Artists and celebrities have found peace in his teachings too. Tina Turner, the legendary Queen of Rock, practiced Nichiren Buddhism for decades, reciting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo daily, and crediting it with transforming her life from abuse to empowerment. Richard Gere became a devoted student of Tibetan Buddhism, working closely with the Dalai Lama to spread awareness about Tibet. Even Jack Kerouac, the rebellious Beat Generation writer, found inspiration in Zen Buddhism, writing The Dharma Bums about his spiritual journey. From rock stages to Hollywood screens, Buddha's message of inner peace resonates with souls seeking something deeper than fame and fortune. Buddha's story has inspired countless books and films. Little Buddha, starring Keanu Reeves, brought his story to Hollywood. Buddha, by Karen Armstrong, remains a best-selling biography. The Dharma Bums, by Jack Kerouac, introduced Buddhism to Western youth. Siddhartha, by Hermann Hesse, though fictional, captures the spiritual journey beautifully. Buddha's legacy lives in 5 timeless lessons. First, suffering is universal, but it can be understood and overcome. Second, the middle way brings balance between extremes. Third, compassion for all beings creates lasting happiness. Fourth, everything changes. This truth brings both comfort and wisdom. Fifth, each person has the potential to awaken and find inner peace. But here's what most people miss about Buddha's story. Here's the real revelation, the shocking truth that changes everything. Buddha didn't become enlightened despite his suffering. He became enlightened because of it. Every moment of pain, every loss, every struggle was preparing him for liberation. Your struggles aren't punishments, they're invitations. The prince who lived in protected splendor discovered that having nothing was the key to having everything. The man who lost his family found a way to love all humanity. The seeker who failed for 6 years succeeded because of those failures. What if I told you that right now, in this moment, your biggest struggle contains your greatest gift? What if your deepest pain is actually pointing toward your highest purpose? Buddha never asked people to worship him. He pointed to the moon of enlightenment and said, "Don't stare at my finger. Look at the moon." His final question echoes through time. Will you choose to awaken? Will you walk the path to inner freedom? Now it's your turn. What suffering in your life needs understanding? What attachments hold you back from peace? What would happen if you stopped running from your pain and started learning from it? Keep learning. Keep seeking. Keep growing. And remember, you're not just learning English. You're discovering wisdom that has guided millions through their darkest moments toward their brightest realization. If this story touched something deep in you, there's more. Stories of Gandhi, who found strength in weakness. Mandela, who discovered freedom in prison. Frida, who turned pain into art. Subscribe to English Life Stories and let these real stories guide you to something deeper than just language. They'll guide you to clarity. Like this video if you felt something shift inside you. Comment below, what's your biggest struggle right now? And subscribe, because your next breakthrough might be waiting in our next story. See you in the next illumination.